must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers and the comrades, the people, the Pan-African people of Africa, and mainly the people of Kenya. Elections in Africa create difficulties. Everywhere in Africa, you find conflicts emanating from elections. Results declared, the loser does not come out to concede. Elections, if not well managed, can trigger the worst crisis for any nation in Africa. It is therefore very prudent for the people of Kenya not to buy populist ideas and forget the hinge point of electoral reforms, electoral injustices, electoral systems, mechanisms that can change Kenya and bring a credible results of an election where the losers and the winner will agree this was a fair contest. Given that circumstances, the circumstances that surround our badly managed elections, Kenya faces this challenge. A referenda of reducing MPs to zero does not solve your problem, because that problem of Kenya is a structural challenge. It's a structural challenge in the sense that the structures themselves give access to more money stolen, to more money hidden, to more money misappropriated by various institutions. Therefore, to have credible electoral reforms, credible electoral systems, credible electoral mechanisms will solve 1/3 of the Kenya's problems, in that we shall have credible, proportionally elected people who represent all the views of the people of Kenya. That is my take. And that's the take of anybody who looks at the current situation, that any group that would come up and has not discussed the question of elections in Africa and in Kenya as a case study, and use it and look at how many dead bodies do we always collect when we mention the word elections. It is all over Africa. In Uganda, it is happening. In Zimbabwe, as we speak now, they are on the streets of Harare. It's because of elections. They want to come and overthrow and break down everything in Zimbabwe. It's elections. So elections in Africa create conflicts. But how can we stop violence before and after elections? Is through proportional representation of the model of South Africa, which has held elections, but there's peace on the streets of the cities. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, my people of Kenya. That's my message. I stand to be corrected, but I think it is only until you get a proportional representation system that will deliver every part of this country into your house of representation, into your elections, is when stability and tranquility will be permanent forever in this country. Thank you.
My name is Bishop Dr. John Warari. I come to you to give you hope. 80% of those who have the infection are recovering. So we must not lose hope. Follow the instructions of the Ministry of Health. Simple instructions. 1, we have been told to sanitize, to clean our hands as often as possible. As you wash your hands, do it for about 20 seconds. That one will keep away and destroy the virus that could have been in your hands. It is important for us not to use our hands in greeting each other. For more information, kindly dial 719 and you will get help, or you can go to your phone and press *719# and you will get more information. Komesha Corona.
Thank you very much. All over Africa, presidents are beginning to change constitutions. The constitutions that were made to give term limits seem to have no meaning to the current situation in Africa. Whenever we reach election time and the expiry of the tenure of office, presidents in Africa try to change their constitutions. The recent case of Guinea, where President Conde has tries to change the constitution to go for another third term or fourth term, has sparked violence that has left several people killed and some arrested, imprisoned. The question therefore is, why is Africa and why are African heads of state changing constitutions? What has made it difficult for presidents to retire and go back? There are few countries in Africa that adhere to the constitution, namely Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Kenya. These countries, Botswana, Namibia, Angola, some of these countries, when it comes to adhering to the principles of constitutionalism, they have never changed their minds. Are there conditions that make them fear? Where is the fear? What makes people change constitutions? What makes a head of state to involve the entire population in changing the entire constitution? The case of Burundi, where the constitution was changed, it sparked violence and even it reached a point of a military coup. Do we need these changes in the constitution at the last minute? Do we involve our people as to whether the type of governance we are taking is the best type of governance? These questions can be answered by my viewers. Many of you who are watching me today, and many of you who will have a chance to look at the clip. The bottom line and the questions are, do we need elections in Africa? Therefore, are we ready for competitive elections? Do we give it up? Do we say, thank you, my brother, for winning, or my sister for winning elections? How do we conduct ourselves pre- and post-elections results? When the results come out, do we accept them? Do we move on? Do we wait for the 5 years? Or do we change and go violent? I think that is the question that I leave to you people in each of your countries, wherever you are. There are a number of countries in Africa that produce oil. Kenya today became one of the member states of oil producing countries in Africa. It exported its first oil where President Uhuru Kenyatta flagged off the oil that was got from Turkana in one of the northeastern parts of this country. But is oil a curse to Africa? Is oil a curse to the entire places where oil is found? We see in the Middle East, the wars in Iran, in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in United Arab Emirates. It has developed the area in Qatar. We all have many cities, skyscrapers coming up because of the proceeds from the oil. But can Africa emulate that example and bring the same oil proceeds to make sure that it makes lives better for the people, the betterment of the people of Africa and their families and their other activities. I want to see that. But I might not be able to explain why Africa always falls a victim. Are there external forces that make the oil in Africa to become sour? Is it the competition of the oil companies, Total and Shell BP and others that come to Africa to take the share of the oil? Simply because we have no energy, ability to be able to drill the oil ourselves, refine it ourselves. It is shocking, therefore, to go to Nigeria, for example, a country that produces third in the world for oil production, has no petrol at the petrol station. Is this not a curse? If it's not a curse, what do you call it? Thank you.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya. With me right now, I hand over to the studios of the Punchline Africa for the lady in our presenter, senior researcher, senior anchor, to take on interrogation on the subject, the diaspora dispatches. Diaspora dispatches, we look at everything on African continent, from elections, COVID-19, news headlines, those who are doing bad to Africa, those who are introducing scientific elections, scientific, when we don't have even one road that can convince an African that we are worse, traveling home without getting worried whether we shall stay in the mud. We want to do scientific elections. Surely, Africa, what went wrong? Over to you, Miriam.
Yes, indeed, and a very good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're watching us from, and good evening. And of course, our topic for this afternoon is should Africa hold elections in the next 2 years period? Now, a Pan-African Lawyers Union has moved to the African Court on Human Rights and People's Rights in Arusha to have elections scheduled in 21 countries postponed, citing the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic. And PALU, in short, whose membership is drawn from individual lawyers and National Lawyers Association on the continent, filed the request on June 2nd and wants the court to issue rules and standards to govern elections during the COVID-19 pandemics. The lawyer wants the court to advise the African Union, African states and citizens of the legal obligations and applicable standards whether they decide to proceed with elections that were scheduled during this period or should they opt to postpone them. So, Doctor, according to this Pan-African Lawyers Union, in short, PALU, they're saying perhaps it's not a very good idea to have elections in the continent right now, and this year 21 African countries have scheduled to have their elections.
Which elections? Elections now. Have you seen the latest report from Uganda? Mm-hmm. It says if Uganda opens up space now before October 2020 and allows people to go back to normal, there is a second wave ripple effects of COVID-19 that will strike us like lightning. Makerere University research professors have just warned Museveni and the government. It is just on the news. You can check anything coming out of Uganda. Now, when you say you want to open up, open and go where? When you say you want to hold an election, what is an election? What is election? We need our viewers to know what an election is. Selecting is a process where you campaign, you put a manifesto, you sell your manifesto, you address the rally, you teach people how to vote, then they vote. After the vote, election goes on. You count the vote, you supervise the vote, you announce the results, you sign the forms. That is election. That is an election. I hope I've done that. I studied elections very well. I have been an observer in 2 countries, or 3 actually, Zimbabwe, East Timor, and Serbia. And the Kenya, 4 years, 2002 and 2007. If you don't have those ingredients, Mr. Museveni and others, stop it. How are you going to count the votes? How are people going to campaign? What is the essence of an election? Is for people to sell their manifesto. Is for people to campaign. Is pitting what is it? Democracy. Pitting ambition against ambition. Is Africa ready? The 21 countries, show me one of them that has not had violence after elections.
Tanzania.
Read them, they are here. Read them, Miriam.
Yes, I have the list here with me. So the countries that are scheduled to have the elections this year are starting with Burkina Faso. The elections are due in November, and Burundi elections already happened there. Cameroon is scheduled to have its elections. It was postponed from February to October, and also Central African Republic there. They're supposed to be having an election this year, and Chad election happened earlier in the year, but was postponed from later, 2019, and even that in February did not happen. And in Comoros, elections happened there in January, and also in Egypt. Election was due in April and May. I don't know. I don't think it happened there in Egypt. Ethiopia, elections was due in May, but it was postponed, Doctor, and that has brought a lot of problems there in Ethiopia for our Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And Gabon, supposed to electing their Senate due late 2020. Ghana, President and National Assembly, the elections they are supposed to be happening in December. Guinea happened early in the year, and they're supposed to be electing the president, and we see Alpha Conde there has insisted on staying there. And we see in Mali, elections was due in May but was postponed. Namibia in November, Niger in November, Tanzania, they're supposed to be going to the elections in October, and Senegal, they're supposed to have the elections late, December, and Somalia, Doctor, your favorite country here. Somalia is supposed to be electing the House of the People in December 2020, so the elections there will be due then. And Somaliland also House of Representatives and Senate, and the elections will be due this month. They have not settled on a date this year. They've not settled on a date yet. Sudan also, but that was postponed. Togo, also happened. So yeah, basically those are just some of the countries that others have, and others are looking to have the elections this year. Next year, another 13 African countries are looking to have the elections, starting with their Uganda. But this year, Doctor, for, of course, the obvious reasons that you're seeing. And when these lawyers went to court to challenge this move, they said that the AU member states must sort of act in the same voice, and because each country have been adopting their own practices in handling elections amid the pandemic, and there are growing calls for a harmonized approach that will safeguard the right to effectively participate in civic duty as enshrined in the key legal instruments. And this is very interesting, Doctor, that they should bring that up, because you remember what happened in Burundi there the other day. President, God rest his soul, a late President Nkurunziza there, said you can come 9 days to elections. He said, observers, you're welcome to Burundi, but when you come, 14 days in quarantine, and yet elections were 9 days prior to that. So I think that could have been one of the reasons why these lawyers went to court, but also among other reasons.
Okay. Apart from one country in that list, where elections are peacefully held, the rest, blood flows on the floor. Apart from Ghana, where peaceful elections take place, show me Tanzania. The last election, the leader of opposition had fled into Kenya.
Doctor, even now, a lot of things are happening. We've not been covering this news. But
so you tell me which country in Africa is going to leave alone the normal election, but scientific. President Museveni in Kampala is suggesting a scientific election.
A scientific?
Walai.
No, wait, no. Hey, Doctor, hold on. A what?
Scientific.
Describe that to me. What would that look like in the Ugandan context?
Okay.
Scientific.
The only country, even Britain, which has a democracy of 1,800 years, 600 years, cannot hold a scientific election. It's only America, in some parts in America, that a scientific election by ballot, sitting at your computer in your bedroom or your toilet and vote. In America, you can vote from a train station, a toilet, a restaurant, anywhere, under a tree. You vote. Once you are registered, you get your laptop, your phone, and vote. Where in Africa can you hold a scientific election? I believe, Miriam, let's talk sincerely. Please, let the court accept the verdict of the lawyers and give the lawyers the verdict. Let's hold our elections once we are through with COVID-19. You are supposed to campaign for 6 months. If the scientists in Uganda are saying they will campaign, if they open now, October will be a Waterloo. People will be just falling on the streets of Kampala because there will be a second wave. So it leaves Uganda with only 4 months. Because Uganda is supposed to go to the polls in February. So where's the campaigning? Plus, above all, is Uganda. Why are you wasting your money? Why is Uganda wasting money for election?
But Doctor, Uganda, the Electoral Commission, they are just given a schedule on how these elections, because remember earlier on this year, I think after the pandemic started around March there were rumors about an article that was making, claims that President Yoweri Museveni had postponed the general election of Uganda that are meant to be happening next year in February to 2023 because of the global spread of the coronavirus. And I remember us having that conversation. But now, of course, the Electoral Commission of Uganda has come out and said that was not true, and they have said that was in fact calling it nonsensical. And this post apparently came from Kenya here, so it's very interesting. So now they issued actually a schedule on how those elections will take place, and one of the key things I think they've done, and I was just reading that before we came here, Doctor, they've banned campaigns. You cannot have, of course, for obvious reasons, there are no campaign rallies. So the Electoral Commission is saying if you want to campaign, then you have to campaign through media. I don't know the possibilities of that being a success.
Which media?
That one. That is threatened with closure.
Medium. Medium. There is no media in Africa. The media in Africa is owned by the state. The state, if Besigye has been going to a radio station while he's inside, the doors are locked and he's locked inside and they switch off. So you tell me what campaign is going to take place in the media? In Uganda, who has got internet? Some areas you have to go to the top of the mountain to look for 3G or 4G. We don't have enough internet coverage for scientific elections. I just want to take this opportunity to warn my African brothers, the nations that want to conduct elections, that you are courting disaster of regime change. Malawi is going to pause on 23rd to elect who?
Let's talk about Malawi, Doctor, because it's very interesting. Even the running mate that President Peter Mutharika has chosen there, and I was just looking at that story before we came here. And what is interesting, the latest, Doctor, from Malawi, the government of Malawi attempted to remove the country's chief justice just days before presidential elections. Remember the Nigerian style. And the elections have been blocked following protests from law and civil society groups. On Friday, the government announced that Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda had been placed on leave pending retirement with immediate effect. I don't know what that is. Now, the notice read that Nyirenda...
There's a rumor. This is a letter, a fake letter.
Yeah.
In Kenya.
Here.
Yes, there's a fake letter running around.
Yes, that who has retired.
Yes, which is fake. We don't want to use it. It's just for you.
Yes.
It's a fake letter. Until it is confirmed on TV. Have you seen? I've sent it to you. That they are saying, oh, Nani has gone on leave. No. Maybe they copied it from Malawi. Someone did it. That the Malawi president.
I think it reads like the same, because from here. So what President Mutharika said. Let me just finish this, Doctor. It's very ridiculous. Like on Friday, the government announced that Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda had been placed on leave pending retirement with immediate effect. The notice read that Nyirenda had accumulated more leave days than the remainder of his working days until his retirement due in December 2021. But however, the High Court judges granted injunctions preventing the move from the Malawian Human Rights Defenders Coalition, the Association of Magistrates, and the Malawi Law Society. I don't know, Peter Mutharika, I don't know, Doctor. Is this a very smart move on his part, seeing that Malawi is set to go to its elections on the 23rd of this month, which is just a few days from now, and he decides to remove the Chief Justice? This is, and he changed the Electoral Commission just 2 weeks ago. This is a recipe for a disaster.
First of all, Miriam.
Yes.
Let's ask one question. This election of 2023, how will Malawi conduct it? People are supposed to be social distance. how many people will vote in a day? This is outright rigging. If you allow a country to go to elections now, it's just rigging. Sorry. That's the sort.
And he has chosen his alongside his new running mate is Atupele Muluzi. Doctor, the 41-year-old, is the son of the former president Bakili Muluzi. Remember the guy who in 2002 he had proposed to change the constitution so that to extend his term. So this is already a person who comes from the father already, wanted to mutilate the constitution of Malawi. So I'm not surprised that Peter Mutharika decided to go choose his father, to come and to choose his son to come and have him as his running mate. Quite interesting there. So, yeah.
He has chosen his son.
Yes.
The son of Muluzi.
Bakili Muluzi, yes. So the son, the son is called Atupele Muluzi.
Yeah, for the vote, for balancing act. Yes. He can win an election that way. Because the Muluzis have a lot of influence in Malawi politics. So he was looking at that angle. He's 31 years old.
He's 41. He's of age.
41, yeah. That's a mature man. He's mature, he's able. But Malawi is gone to George Soros. Forget. It will boil up to Lake Malawi. It is going to boil to Lake Malawi to cool it down. That water has not seen a lot of chaos. So they are going to go to rise their gods. For water to accumulate there, it must have taken millions of years, is it? Yes. So they are rising. It's rising slowly. It's rising slowly. Rising slowly until there's a conflict. There's no election in Malawi. We are just bordering on violence which is going to erupt. And that small country in Central Africa and the Southern Africa, a member of SADC, it will be no more. Who is going to, where the plane is to fly, to observe? Where are they? Who is going to be an observer?
Because no planes are flying to any country right now, so it's very interesting that they would choose
So
this time.
why do you insist to? The basic thing that I want to do, Miriam, let's talk frank.
Yes.
Let the leaders who are ruling now rule.
Peter Mutharika.
Yeah. Museveni, yes. Don't waste our money. Build more ventilators. You don't need to conduct an election in Uganda now. For who? People are going to die. People don't know when COVID will stop. Do you want to conduct an election? Are you really normal? Are you normal? How will the people campaign? You tell me how Besigye will campaign.
In the media.
In which media?
You remember when
He doesn't even have a television station.
when they tried covering that one of Bobby Wine, you remember what happened there? A lot of the media houses were closed down. So can you imagine now? Yeah.
Let me tell you, let's not pretend. Let these leaders who are there, this is what God sent us. God sent us COVID-19 to assemble ourselves, rearrange ourselves. If you are shaking hands, God has said now answer to some Bible. He's just giving us a warning that the next time he comes, he's not going to joke with us. So let's prepare ourselves in a manner that now Museveni is in power and he has done very well with COVID-19, whether you hold the election or not, he will win anyway. He will win. I'm not telling you a lie. He will win. If ballot papers of 2016 have not reached 5 kilometers away from the polling station, if ballot papers, Ugandans should be not. Why are you hurrying to go where? Why are you hurrying in Tanzania, Mr. Magufuli, to go where? You are one of those Africans who is mutilating democracy, beating opposition. Now you are running. COVID-19 has come to protect you. Be in power.
According to him, there's no COVID. Maybe 66, cases are remaining in Tanzania, and we shall look at that on our next show. But of course, Tanzanian President John Magufuli has said that the country's October 2020 general elections will be held as planned, despite the COVID-19. So Magufuli is saying this will be the right time actually to have elections. And even I think that is perhaps why the President Museveni has rethought his this strategy, because initially he'd said, no, we have to get better first. COVID has to be contained first before the country can go in its elections. And then see how the elections in Burundi went, because right now nobody's paying attention to what is happening there. Every country is busy trying to contain COVID-19. So some few individuals would want to take advantage of this because nobody is really watching, and there's no election observers that will travel to the country to come and observe the elections, so they can get away with a lot.
To me, Miriam, madam.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I am a fighter like President Museveni. We trained all of us in Tanzania. We are great, liberated our country in all our capacity. I did not become a general like him. He decided to continue with the career. Some of us went for different career. Mzee, wacha mambo ya elections. Please, you are older than me by 10 years. Leave this thing. You are courting a regime change. George Soros wants you to hold an election. President Museveni, listen to me. Listen to me. I am not your favorite man. Neither do we agree, since you refuse to pay my money. God will pay me the money. Peace is holding in Uganda. Don't conduct this election. Don't. If you want a lecture, send anyone to me. I'll tell you why. Have you seen what they have done? Today, Ugandans were using whistles. If they had a plate, a saucepan, they were shouting, we are hungry. At 12 today, even the police got shocked. Your Excellency, don't you see those lines? Don't you see those signs? Why don't you just tell the country straight away, this until Corona is over? Makerere University has just told us a few hours ago, researchers whom he relies on He has conducted the COVID-19 exercise very successfully, President Museveni. I give you marks. Kudos. Kudos. You have conducted it so well. Nobody has died of COVID in Uganda so far. Now you want to spoil. You want people to come to the streets. This time, even the mighty army might run. So don't try. If I was a wicked man, I would tell you, try quickly, run. But I value my people. My people have died enough. They don't need to die again. They have suffered enough. They don't need to suffer again. Because you want an election. There's no election here. How do you campaign? How do you address people? How do you sell your manifesto? How? What is an election? Let any Ugandan from Besigye come to me. We sit down. I show him or her 11 tenets of an election. I studied political science. I did not study medicine like a Besigye. He knows how to operate people and bring them to life. But I also know how to teach people what an election is. So we should not draw people into death trap. It is a death trap. Tanzania, death trap. The amount of demonstrations that are going to be in Tanzania is a death trap. The amount of demonstrations that are going to be in Egypt. This guy of Egypt has signed that he will never leave power until 2032. So why do you bring an election now? Somalia will be more chaotic. If you see what is happening there. Already opponents are being killed.
And kidnapped every day.
Kidnapped.
There's another
killed,
in hospital right now.
Thrown in Indian Ocean because of elections. Tanzania, leaders of opposition, some are in Belgium, running away for their lives because of elections. Burundi, the president defied. He's not here anymore. Those Africans watching me, I am not a doom man prophet. If you know what George Soros is planning for Uganda, if I were Museveni, if I were Museveni, I would just chill, keep quiet. If you don't know, pay my money, I will tell you. Because I will save you. Try an election in Uganda 2021. It's over. That military will run. I'm telling you. Don't try it. We are speaking frankly here. Don't. There's another country. You read another country where?
Malawi. There's Malawi, there's Tanzania, there's Uganda, but that is next year. And also the other countries, Burundi, of course, went to its elections, and quite a number. Cameroon.
Ghana.
Yes, Ghana.
The only country
in December
where elections have been peaceful. Perhaps Ghana. But even in Ghana, how will Ghana do it? How? Scientifically, how? That is massive rigging. complaints will overwhelm the electoral systems. That people will just say now or never. When you get people saying now or never, Miriam, and they come for you, Ceausescu had the biggest army in Europe, well fortified, but he had to look for a helicopter to run through the roof. In fact, he was lucky because they even had Stinger missile to shoot a helicopter. Don't try. I am advising African heads of state whose elections fall in COVID-19.
And Dr. And another election also, Ivory Coast. They're set to go to the elections in October 31st.
Please. You look.
And you know Ivory Coast to the situation there.
Miriam, that's why we're here. We are talking. Don't think there are very few people listening. There are many. Those who are not listening now will repeat these steps later. Ivory what? Cote d'Ivoire?
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah. They're set to go to the elections in October, end of October there.
You know what? It produced bubblegum in the ICC. Now, Ouattara will go there. Don't hold the elections. Don't.
In Somalia, the House of the People, I don't know if that is parliament or that is the local, I don't understand the composition of Somalia parliament, yeah.
Somalia's election, there is no campaign.
In December, it's due in December.
There's no campaign, they just sit. They can sit, that one they can hold.
So House of the People, they're the ones who will be elected. And
all
then
the people sit down and put up their ballot paper. They elect the president. There's no election there. It's a muddy country.
That's
so
how
they can.
Doctor, that is how they elect their president?
Who? Yes.
Somalia?
The president is elected among us.
So who elects the House of the People?
MPs.
How are they elected? So
The
House of the
MPs.
People is the MP, yes.
They just choose grand leaders.
Is it not what China does? Similar, but not quite, more or less.
They are not terrorists in China.
Have you seen those containment sites? They keep people. They try to de-radicalize people in China. So China leave it alone. But it's more or less the same system of electing or getting the leaders. Right, and another country, yes. Niger also is set to go to its elections in 2020.
Now see, this such a country. You are saying in Niger, half of Niger,
Boko Haram.
And then Boko Haram added with COVID-19.
Yes.
What election can you hold with COVID-19? Read the numbers of Niger's COVID-19. Read them.
I don't know if I have them here.
Let's eat this subject. Eat it.
I don't have Niger figures here, but I would check them, or somebody would confirm them to me.
You check the figures.
Please, Frederick, if you can confirm with me the numbers or the figures there from Niger. But I know the numbers there were up the last time we checked the figures from Niger, and also and Ethiopia as well, Doctor. Ethiopia's elections is still this, but they were postponed. Yeah.
What did I tell you? First of all, quote the words I told you about 4 weeks ago. I told you, Miriam, Ethiopia will break up very badly. The biggest mistake that Ethiopia made was to shake hands with a Faki. And I want the people in Africa to listen to me. Because at times I talk, they think, I don't know a Faki. A Faki and a Matanga and Zenawi were in the same office, sponsored by the British government in 1987, 89, 90. Wake up. We were working together in Islington, Highbury, and Islington. We had an office. Mine was Uganda Community Relief Association, Zenawi, Faki, and the other fifth called Dr. Tedros. We worked together. He was our junior. Zenawi was the chairman of Ethiopian Relief, my greatest friend. If he had been alive today, I would be somewhere bigger than where I am. Faki started showing his bad habit while in London. So the biggest mistake that Mr. Abe did was to shake hands so early. It will cost him a country. That's all I can tell. You have seen the troubles. Yes. You have seen the troubles in Somalia. Who is behind the trouble? The war between Kenya and is a Faki. But he doesn't show his. I call him Mr. Smile. I used to say, is Mr. Smile upstairs? He smiles while he's going to kill you. Commander Efak of Tigray Liberation Front. Commander Tedros, the World Health Organization chief, who loves money. If you say Matanga was wrong, have you seen the complaints now? Now they have come with another thing that, oh, this thing is not, you've asthmatic, asymptomatic, oh my God.
Asymptomatic.
Oh my God. I get annoyed, that's why I don't want to pronounce those type of words.
Yes. But doctor, I've seen the Niger coronavirus cases there, and I'm actually impressed. Do you know they have a 90.3% recovery rate there, with the total number of confirmed cases in that country at 980, and so far 885 people have recovered with only 66 deaths. So 90.3% of
the desert.
That's quite impressive.
You know where Niger is? It's a desert.
Yeah.
3/4 of it is a desert. What do you expect from a desert? Gosh.
So owing to this, so maybe they can go to the elections, which are due sometimes.
How?
Yeah.
Why doesn't the leader? No, you don't know why I'm advocating.
Yes.
For this.
For no elections this year.
For no elections.
Or at least to be postponed.
We are looking for money to heal COVID-19. Uganda is going to borrow money to run its elections.
Yes.
When we don't have hospitals, beds in the Mulago hospital. Tell me what logic of a leader you would be when you have done very well with COVID-19, served so many people, Mr. President. Why would you want to bring disease to kill people whom you have saved? Because an election in Uganda now, it will mean people will have to gather to listen to the message contrary to the World Health Organization. So, what the rationale? Where is the logic? I studied political science to the highest level. Show me. Luckily enough, President Museveni studied the same. The only difference is that he wrote about felony fancy. I wrote about democracy and reality in our country. And that's my book. Is it a myth or reality? But then when I wrote, Uganda had a one-party state. Let's challenge each other on this. Why do you want to hold an election now when people are dying or are gonna die? Makerere University has told you there is don't open and let Kenya also copy from here that if you open early, there is a second wave. You know, you have heard what they have said. There is a second wave of Corona 19.
Oh, it's not a joke. No kidding. Have you seen China now? There are other cities. They've started again lockdowns. It's no joke. Yeah, you're right.
The second wave of Corona that is coming. So if we don't lock and then you open for elections, you are killing your people. Maybe they want us to die.
We shall wear masks and wash our hands and stay safe.
Miriam, people are saying, oh, President Uhuru Kenyatta, open, and you go where? All airports are sealed. Even if you want to go and buy blood transfusion in London, you will have to stay 14 days in quarantine at Heathrow. If you satisfy them, then you can walk inside. When you come back to Kenya, you again stay 14 days. So where are you going? Where do you go? Where do you go? Why do you want to open the space to go where? Let's pick another country.
Another country, of course, Egypt was meant to be electing its House of Representatives, but that did not happen. So, yeah, and Gabon also is meant to be having its Senate elections there in the late 20 later on this year. And we saw Gabon there, Doctor, also taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation there when it went to the National Assembly and also introduced that very controversial referendum there for the term to be extended there. Guinea.
That's blood. That's bloodshed. The French system has now refused Mr.
Alpha Conde.
They want another person. So why do you want to bring more blood to your people who are already suffering from COVID-19? So in essence, the money that is being used for elections can be used to improve, for now, to improve medical facilities in preparation for wave number 2, wave number 3, wave number 4. The leaders who are in power can temporarily suspend, isn't it? Suspend until there is a time when the world has vaccine next year. Then you can hold your elections. God is not calling you today. He has just slowed us down. But if you want to pass him, you know the consequences. That's my advice. I am not doing politics for anybody, but I'm just giving a professional
advice
to President Museveni as a professional, not a contestant. I am not interested in Uganda politics. I don't want, even if you gave me for free. But I'm a professional, an expert, who knows what an election is. Election has got 14 components. Right from registration of a voter up to the declaration of results and the formation of government. That's all electoral process. It has 14 major components. So if you don't have them, the end result will be bloodshed. If they could not agree with the ballots, President, no corona, do you think they are going to agree when there is corona? I leave it to my viewers and our viewers.
Yes.
And we can perhaps, unless you have something else, Media.
No. I think you have exhausted. Yes. Summarize for us, Doctor.
In summary, there is nowhere in the Plato Republic Socrates, Aristotle, Montesquieu, Karl Marx, where they said you go beyond your means. To do what is impossible to achieve democracy. If a democracy is impossible, you change tactics of bringing democracy. One of the tactics that the states in Africa that are doing elections this year can postpone these elections, conduct them another time under conducive conditions. Conducting, we have a caller. Miriam, there's a caller. I don't know whether you have time. Hello, caller.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
It's Emmanuel from Juba, South Sudan.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Greet Miriam. You want to contribute to the election, to the debate of elections?
Yes, I want to contribute also. South Sudan is also on the same side. Yeah.
It is on this which side? The same side?
Yeah, I'm adding my point. South Sudan is also supposed to have the election 2022 after this after 3 years from now.
How will they have it? Where is they have to?
In particular, I said there's no way that South Sudan can hold an election because we have ethnic violence across the country.
There you are. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Because
Emmanuel, yeah, this is and Doctor, this is Emmanuel Malwal, I believe, one of our contributors here, and I see he's been active, even watching us here. So it's very nice to hear from
Emmanuel,
him. Yes.
Yeah.
Miriam wants to fire you a few questions.
And Emmanuel, yeah, we've been meaning for you to call us, so thank you so much for calling. I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, so you feel because of the insecurity that is there in South Sudan, and we talk about it here every day, and even the UN, I think the other day, raised concerns over the same. So you're saying the country is not ready to go for to have an election until that is sorted out.
Yeah, come again. My network is not okay.
You can repeat for him, Doctor. I don't think you can hear me clearly from here.
It's saying,
Yes.
Yeah,
you have been telling us that things are on the ground are not good.
yeah.
So is South Sudan in any way, can it conduct elections? Sure.
No way.
Huh. Okay.
We need people. And the peace is the real peace on the ground, not peace in the offices. Like yesterday, the whole of last week up to yesterday, there is a guy called the one that formed the new rebellion. If you heard Mariam knows.
Yes.
They call Carbino Wall.
Yes.
Carbino Wall was killed yesterday alongside 7 others, including South Sudanese Australian citizens. They were also killed in a serious confrontation.
The man who was detained by Salva Kiir.
Yeah, the one who was detained and released. Later on, he formed a movement, a new rebellion called the 7th October movement. He was killed yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know the guy.
Yeah, called Carbino Wall.
Yes, I know him.
Yeah, he was killed.
Oh my God.
It was only 7 days movement. 7 days movement, and then the name of the seven, the name of the movement called the 7th October movement, and the leader was killed alongside a youth leader and one of his colleagues, who is an Australian citizen, but in the South Sudanese. They were killed
in Juba.
They were killed in a place called Ayan Mayati. It's in Lagos State.
How callous was he to be able to declare a movement within Sudan and the state?
That is also our concern, and it was inside deep of South Sudan, and that is where he declared his rebellion. And some of us were also shocked. How come you declare a rebellion inside the country where you will never go? There is no outlet. You have only inlet. So it is also a concern and a lack of strategy also for him.
Oh, wow.
Why didn't he seek some advice from Matanga?
Sometimes he was also powerful. He's an entrepreneur. He has a huge followers. So that's why maybe he said that maybe he do that he can be successful.
Why didn't he seek advice from us who have tried for 35 years?
That is what. And then also there is the ethnic, there is the youth, there's the fighting on the other side of jungle. The youth have already gone, and they are going, the serious fighting also on the other side of jungle. So South Sudan is not
it's in chaos right now.
Election, or even to implement the peace. Yeah.
So, as we summarize, Emmanuel,
yes,
where are the soldiers who were put in assembly points? Where are they?
The cantonment areas.
Yes. There are some even leaving the training camp.
They're leaving with guns, Doctor.
It's also causing an alarm. Yeah.
Yesterday, you remember?
But the gradation is pushed, and some of them are moving away with the gun.
With the gun, yes. Absolutely. They're leaving the camps with the gun, and they're going inside the community, and there's no ways and mechanisms of tracing them. So these are other militia groups that will start assembling themselves. And so, Doctor, I need to have this conversation. Maybe tomorrow or the next day.
Where is Riek Machar?
Riek is inside Cuba.
Okay, it's all right. I'll reach him today.
Yeah, reach him. Yeah.
I'll reach him.
Yeah.
Hey, this is very serious.
It is.
The peace is in the brink of collapse. Yeah. It's on verge of collapse. Yeah.
Oh. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you. God bless you. Stay well, brother, wherever you are. In Sudan, stay well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for calling us. You've been engaging with us, and I see even you'd written to us before.
African presidents
Yes.
will be killing. It's not normal. This guy was arrested. I know him. Why did he go to declare? Then he was killed.
That was very daring on his part. You declare a revolution inside the country, and right now you can't even escape from the country itself. So that was very daring on his part. So yeah, very sad there.
Okay. Madam, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
God bless you.
All right. I will take that. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, our viewers, wherever you are. I hope you have learned one or two things. Remember, an election has 14 components. Scientific election can never happen in Africa. It will only bring bloodshed. I wish President Museveni and Magufuli knew what George Soros was planning for them. So I leave it up to that.
All right.
If you pay me my money, I will tell you the second. You refuse to pay my money when I did the peace process. I lost out. I'm poor. The people who took the money built more houses. David, account red. Account red. The house was, sir, I was going to sleep outside. But don't try an election. It's a disaster. I'm not interested in it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, our viewers, and bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.